So if we look at the topic of selective credit control, here what the central bank is trying to do is it is trying to give credit to a particular sector in the form of like there are priority sector lending requirements. So that means that RBI is trying to indicate banks that some of the sectors are very important. For example, agriculture is a priority sector and you have to give some amount of loan mandatory to this sector definitely. Okay, so when a particular sector is mandated by RBI for the banks to give credit, we uh, can take it as a form of selective credit control. Then there are margin requirements, so we can understand margin requirement in this manner. So suppose somebody is trying to buy a house and he wants a loan on that. So earlier government is giving 80 to 85% of the value of the house as loan. 10 to 15% or 20 to 15% that person has to pay from his own. Okay, now whenever we are talking about margin requirement, so now the government is trying to have a contractionary monetary policy. So what the government will say is that I will give only, or the RBI will say that I will give only 60 to 70% of the value of the house as loan. The rest you have to manage it yourself. So that means that the margin requirement, through the margin requirement, it is trying to indicate a contractionary monetary policy. Credit rationing is that RBI is trying to put a limit to the banks to give loan to a particular sector. So what RBI is trying to say that this is X sector of economy and beyond a certain limit you cannot loan to this sector. So that is called credit rationing. Moral suasion is like RBI through its letter and speeches is trying to indicate banks to do a certain thing. For example, it is not mandatory for bank to transfer the let's say the decreased or low interest rate that RBI is doing to the customer, but it is indicating to the banks that they should give loans at a low interest rate. When these banks are not doing these things, so then RBI takes moral suasion, that is with the help of letters, speeches, or various seminars. It is trying to nudge banks to pass off the policy rates to the consumer as well. And direct action is when RBI takes direct action against some banks or put penalty on those banks for not following the instruction of RBI. So these are the quantitative and the qualitative tools that RBI has to conduct its monetary policy. Thank you so much.